Any questions about middle school or high school or elementary application process, please make sure you touch base with your schools and or the district office, and we'll get you the answers you need. Listening to Learn Tour has been going pretty well. We've gone to five schools so far. We've met with the U of T virtually. We met with DC 37 virtually, and the pre-K community as well in a virtual space. Special thanks to Community Councilmember Ung and Senator Liu. They joined me at the last PS20 event, and Councilmember Ung announced a $500,000 grant for PS20 at that time. So we thank her for her support for our schools. In this particular case, was for PS20. We did receive a lot of feedback. You can see here, this is just a kind of outline of the number of people that were present during each of these visits. One of our schools actually had over 500 people present, and parents and kids included. So we have received quite a bit of content from our families and staff this past 6 weeks. Things that we've kind of identified based on comments from our community, and I'll just kind of highlight the top ones. Communication is something that was shared that is at the top of the list that folks believe we do well. Believe that teachers and administrators are very approachable and are consistent in their message. Strong sense of community, support for staff and professional learning. I'm very happy with the focus on reading and inclusiveness. So we have a number of other ones, but those are just the top series of them that were identified by community members. The areas in yellow are things that I just want to bring everyone's attention to in terms of things that we need to strengthen as per our visits. Now, the more communication to parents, one that is not highlighted, was more along the lines of continuing to do that, to do that outreach and support. But some of the ones that did come up is more after-school programs and activities for students. So that's something that we are going to continue to connect with DYCD to offer that outreach to connect with DYCD to see if we can get additional CBOs inside of our district schools, particularly our elementary schools, and continue to push our buildings with offering after-school club opportunities for our kids. Diving deeper into HMH, this was a staff request, but I also think it's important for parents, which is why we do have two of our members. Thank you, Anna and Melinda, for being here today to talk to our parents around HMH. Something that we do want to do as the year is going on, offer those spaces for our families to get an understanding of the new program we're using. School safety and dismissal. This is something that has come up during the Listening to Learn tours, particularly the dismissal component and the congestion around schools. So I did reach out to our local precincts, and they offered an application of sorts for parents that are interested, and I will make sure that we post it inside of our documents page for the President's Council. For parents that are interested, they do have crossing guard opportunities. It's upwards of 20 hours of work per week, and I think the rate was at $18 per hour. I know that it's not necessarily the most appealing thing maybe for some, but maybe there are families that are interested in doing that for the community, and there is an application for that. But our school safety, inside of that conversation, our local precincts are willing to connect with us and support, our efforts of building safety. And perhaps, moving forward, it can be an opportunity where they come to visit President's Council to share a little bit about how they're keeping our kids safe as well. Special education support. We did receive quite a bit of positive feedback from the last meeting, from our last CEC meeting, in terms of the outreach that was provided from our district. So Nathan did an amazing job. I thank him for what he has done for the CEC. But because of that, we're going to be offering additional special education opportunities for our families, particularly of those that do have children with special needs and or children that may need special services moving forward. So Nathan will be organizing a series of events for our families to participate in.
Dr. Mike, just wanted to also say, President's Council invited Nathan for our next meeting, which will be in November. So he will be coming to speak to President's Council next month.
Yeah, and Nathan did a great job, and I encourage you to all think about topics that you would love for Nathan to cover. He's going to establish a series, but if there are other things that you believe are important, he's willing to do that too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next month's agenda also. The space around attendance, I'm pretty excited to say that right now we have the second lowest chronic absenteeism rates in the city, as well as the second highest overall attendance rate in the city at this time. Our goal is to continue to push forward, because we know that the more our kids are in school, the better off we all are. So our schools, in concert with our attendance coordinator in the district, will continue to provide supports with routine meetings, routine check-ins at our buildings, to provide families with the supports they need to be in school on a daily basis. Social emotional learning, which you'll see all the way at the bottom, it's highlighted in yellow as well, is feedback that we did get from our parents. Esther, Jenny, and Wing, our social worker, have organized a professional learning series around executive functioning for our kids, which is very much connected to social emotional learning. It'll be done in English, Spanish, and Chinese. Flyers will be made accessible to all of you so that you can, certainly attend or encourage others to participate as well. I think it's really important. L supports, those are ongoing for the district, something that was noted. Supports for our special needs children, also something that is ongoing through our district team. And one other one that I highlighted here is for school aid training. And this is particularly during recess and cafeteria time. One of our goals is to reduce the number of infractions during recess and during lunchtime. So in order for that to happen, we do need to make sure we're supporting those that are working in those areas. So those are just a couple of key points that did come from our Listening to Learn tour that I wanted to mention to all of you tonight. Okay, so now to the space of information I do think is really important for everyone to have an understanding of, is our district data, and currently how we're performing as a district based on New York State results. As a district, we did perform relatively similar to the previous year. Our increase was minor, went by 0.3% from where we were in 2022 to 2023. We did see an increase in percentage of level ones, which is not something that we do want to see. So you'll see our teachers and our building leaders are really focused on curbing those results into this school year. The one thing that of note that I've been sharing a bit with our teams, whether it's the DLT during the CEC or now here at the President's Council, is the grade level that demonstrated some regression compared to previous years was grade 3. Typically grade 3, we're performing, well over 60% of our kids are on or above grade level. This particular year, we did perform under 60%. So our kids are at a lower starting point than what they were in grade 3. So our buildings are certainly focused on our children in grade 4 moving forward this year. Different from that, our children in grade 4 and 5, when you look at our bar graph here, the two middle groups, grades 4 and 5, the middle and the top, you'll see that there was an improvement in the number of students that were performing on or above grade level, and a reduction in the number of children that were performing below grade level, which is what the pattern that we do want to see. Students in grade 6 and 7, grade 6, 7, and 8 did perform at a lower rate than previous grade 6 and 7. Although the cohorts, so when we did 5 to 6 and 7 to 8, we did see a positive change. In fact, our 8th graders did leave us with 72% of our kids on or above grade level. Certainly that's not enough, but we do want to have our kids trending at a higher performance level, leaving us in 8th grade, ready for high school and beyond. So when you look at the data, you'll notice that there is, in the 8th grade in particular, a reduction in level 1s and an increase in level 3s and 4s. Students with disabilities, this is an area that while we did make improvement by 2.8%, there is still a ton of work to be done for our students with disabilities across District 25. I'm happy to say that we do work really, really hard at making sure our kids are receiving the services that they are due. Tracy and Nathan from our team are constantly connecting with our buildings to make sure that we have our students receiving the services as per their IEPs. We do have to continue to work on this particular subgroup as we move through this school year. Similar patterns exist for our children with disabilities in grades 3 to 5, as did our all students population. You'll see that grade 3 was at a much lower starting place than grades 4 and 5. We did see progress in grades 4 and 5. Grade 4 improved by over 13%, and grade 5 improved by over 7% when compared to the previous school year. So we do have more work that we have to do for that grade 3, as I mentioned, that are now our current grade 4 this school year. Similar pattern for grades 6, 7, and 8. Grade 8 improved by 7.7% and decreased the number of level 1s by 16%. Grade 6 improved by 1.4%, with a decrease in level 1s by 13.3%, which is a nice improvement. However, obviously we know that there's a ton of work to do here for our students with special needs. Our English language learners, we also saw a change here that we do not want to see. We did decrease the number of children that were performing at or above grade level for our Ls. This is a moving target. As we test children out, new English language learners do come in, and we do have to continue to prepare them for the New York State assessments, something that we will continue to do. Grades 3, 4, and 6, and 7 showed a reduced performance compared to 2022, and grade 3 saw the biggest difference as compared to past years, with 11% difference. Is not something that we want to see, but those patterns from previous grade levels that I just shared also rendered itself when we're talking about our Ls in District 25. Our subgroup data, you will notice that it stayed rather consistent from past years. Our Asian subgroup grew by 1.8%, our Black learners by 1.3%, our white learners decreased by 0.2%, and our Hispanic learners by 0.7% from the previous year's data. The one subgroup that I did want to shout out for making progress was our grade 8. We did see quite a bit of movement in the positive sense. Our Black learners grew by 14.7% compared to 8th graders in 2022. 61.7% of our learners were on or above I messed that up. Our Black learners improved by 14.7% compared to 8th graders in 2022, with 61.7% of our learners on or above. 57.6% of our Hispanic learners, 80% of our Asian learners, and 75.4% of our white learners, with each subgroup making improvements in the 8th grade. And we do want to continue to push towards that trajectory of improvement by the time our children leave us and into high school. So our math data was a little bit different. Math, we saw a positive change across our district community by 8%. To the positive. So we went from 58.4% to 66.4%. And we saw a reduction in the number of children that were below standard by over 6% this school year. Across grades 3 to 5, we did see our data improve. Grades 4 and 5 had the greatest difference, with over 7% of our students on or above grade level, with grade 3 also 4.5% higher than previous years. And we saw a reduction in the number of children that were at level 1. Certainly where we don't want our children to be is in that space of not meeting standards. Also in grades 6 through 8, again, positive changes here. Grades 6 and 7 exhibit the greatest difference, with over 10 to 12% of students improving and moving on or above grade level. Grade 8 also performed higher in terms of the number of children that were on or above grade level. The one caveat here is that we did increase the number of level 1 students here in the 8th grade. The part that I do want to make sure everyone knows is that our 8th graders is not a full representation, as 1,400 children did take the New York State Algebra 1 Regents this year, and they are not included in this particular data set from the state assessment. Our students with disabilities did improve by 9.7% in terms of the number of children on or above grade level, and a reduction of almost 13% of children performing at level 1. This is, again, a similar pattern across grade levels 3, 4, and 5 that you just saw in the previous data. Grade 5 increased by 4.8%, grade 4 by 13.7%, And grade 3 did decline by 0.1 from last year, but all grade levels did see a reduction in the number of students that were performing at level 1. Grade 6 through 8, students with disabilities, grade 8 increased by 9.7%, grade 7 by 21.3%, and grade 6 by 12.6% as compared to the previous year's data. Grade 7 saw a reduction in the number of students that were at level 1 by 27.8%, and grade 6 by 15.7%. Grade 8 did see an increase in the number of students performing at level 1, which is not what we want to see. Our L learners also increased by their performance by 2.8% from the previous year and reduced their number of level 1s by 8.4%. And lastly, our subgroup data. We did improve across our subgroups. Our white subgroup did improve by 12.4%, our Black learners by 10.8%, our Hispanic learners by 9.6%, and our Asian learners by 8.1%. And a reduction in level 1s from ranging from 3.9% to 13.4% across our district. So I know that I just spit a lot of numbers out at you, but I did want to make sure that you were aware of the current state of our district performance. Does anyone have any specific questions about what I just shared with you about the current state of our district schools?